This is the most special BMW 5 Series that's ever been made, and in today's video I hope to show you exactly why. Finished in frozen deep green, this is the M5 CS, and if you know your M5s, you know that this car is really something special. In fact, in order to get a drive of one, I've had to come here to Munich, the home of BMW and BMW M, and that's because while 20 of these cars did come to Australia, they all sold within a matter of days. The fact that it cost $306,000 was clearly no hindrance. There's only one available now for 800 grand secondhand. So can this car possibly justify that kind of exclusivity? Well, I've devised something a little bit different. I'm going to drive from here in Bavaria down to Lake Como, where BMW are going to reveal the new M4 CSL Halo two-door sports car in a matter of days. I think I've probably got enough performance aboard. This is the most powerful production BMW ever, with 467 kilowatts from its 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8, a 3-second 0 to 100 time on the way to a top speed of 305 kilometers per hour. So slightly absurd, but the most interesting thing about the M5 CS, as I'm going to reveal in today's video, is that it's also comfortable. So the engineering that's gone into this car is really something very special. So join me on what should be a pretty fun trip in the 2022 BMW M5 CS. Hit subscribe down below the video, hit the notification bell, and drop me a comment at any point. The M5 CS really is one for the enthusiasts, and of course that includes me. And if I had have had a spare 306 grand, I probably would have considered trying to buy one in Australia, but it's no surprise that the exterior color is frozen deep green. Green has had a real resurgence for the last couple of years, and personally I couldn't be happier with that. But the CS is also offset by a pretty broad range of gold bronze highlights, including in the daytime running lights, which are just so cool. You can immediately recognize this car getting down the road. So if you ever see one, or if you think you've seen one, look for the yellow DRLs and you'll know. But we also have gold bronze forged 20-inch wheels in Pirelli P0 Corsa tyres, 285 at the back, 275 at the front. And even though we've only got a little bit of sidewall, it actually doesn't impede this car's ride quality all that much because the dampers behind the wheels are so finely tuned. Also carbon ceramics, gold calipers on this car. Red was also available. In fact, exterior color, you could get a gray, but most of them were green, which is a good thing. Gold bronze grille at the front and heaps of carbon fiber. Carbon fiber front splitter here. We've got bonnet inserts. In fact, at the back, there's a carbon fiber spoiler and rear diffuser as well. There's carbon everywhere around this car, which was integral to it saving 70 kilos over the standard M5 Competition. And that was enough to cut 10% off the car's 0 to 100 time, which fell from 3.3 seconds to 3. Now, moving down the car, you notice the carbon roof, but otherwise it's very conventional 5 Series, and that's always been what the M5 is so good at. At the back, again, it's understated. Now, a matte color is always going to attract some attention, but in this green, it's just so elegant. You do get gold bronze M5 CS badging here, and a really aggressive diffuser at the back, and real tailpipes. Quad pipes, stainless steel, they make a great bark, as we'll hear when I take it for a drive. This is the cockpit of my weapon of choice for this trip, and it's 5 Series, but just amped up in every single way. Immediately taking the dashboard, it's conventional, but there's really nothing conventional about this steering wheel, which is covered in Alcantara, black chrome, but you also see real carbon fiber paddle shifters, plus red perforations just peeking through and M tricolor stitching. Just the steering wheel itself is such a lovingly assembled bit of trim in this car. It's quite special. Now you look forward at a digital instrument cluster with specific M5 CS badging. I like the fact that the car, little model of the car in the screen has the correct gold wheels, of course. And up here, we've got a 12-inch touchscreen running not quite the latest operating system for BMW, but a recent one. It's easy to use, it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And notably, the 5 Series CS is not a CSL, so while BMW have cut 70 kilos out of this car, it's not a total stripper in terms of trying to find weight savings, so we still have things like the Harman Kardon stereo. We wouldn't want to go without that. But we're sitting in very light sports bucket seats. They're made of carbon up front, and they're finished in super fine leather in charcoal, but we also have these Magello red highlights, which are pretty cool, and some Alcantara just on the bolsters to hold you in as much as possible in faster cornering, which I hope we'll be able to do quite a bit of. There's red highlights throughout the cabin, CS over here in carbon fiber in front of the passenger, red right around the gear shifter for the 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission, and then extensive ambient lighting. Alcantara headliner, no sunroof of course, because this is really for enthusiasts. It's a true slick top, but still lots of leather coating all the secondary surfaces. This car was over $300,000 when it was available, so there's a level of luxury to it that really stands out. Now the seats themselves are quite similar to those from the new M3 and M4, the optional carbon seats. They do have a piece of carbon here on the squab of the seat, which won't suit all body types or leg types. Some people find these seats a little uncomfortable. For my frame, I think it works, but it's not really like you have to try them out because you can't buy this car anymore. But for the M3 and the M4, they don't suit everybody. But this was the only option in the M5 CS. We also have heated seats up here, dual zone climate, beautiful galvanized instrumentation, quality feels super high. One little bit of weight saving, center armrest doesn't open up. It's fixed. So you're joining me in the foothills of the Italian Alps. I'm in the M5 CS. But one of the best things about this part of the world is that you don't actually need to be driving a 467 kilowatt super sedan to really enjoy yourself. And now that travel's starting to come back, one of my biggest recommendations is to do a driving holiday around Europe. In particular, this part of the European continent is awesome for driving. Northern Italy, I wouldn't call it a free-for-all, but definitely driving standards are high, road speeds are high, and people kind of generally know what they're doing. And even though this car is very, very powerful and is obviously designed for track use, it's right at home here on these sort of sinewy, winding, narrow roads that are unbelievably well surfaced. You can see a lot of money is spent on their upkeep and condition. So how does the BMW feel? Well, this car's biggest asset is that while it's no doubt a performance car and, you know, the hardest, most serious M5 made yet, it actually still manages to retain the M5's key virtue of being very, very quick, but also very compliant, very supple. But then when you get a chance, it's incredibly quick and accelerative and thrusty. Even on a pretty steep incline uphill like that, it just catapults you towards the horizon, accompanied by crazy induction noise, which is rare for a force-fed V8. It sounds really, really good. It gives you options. There's plenty of feedback, and you know, the partnership between this twin-turbo 4.4 V8 and the 8-speed ZF torque converter automatic continues to be a really good one. It was this generation of M5 that ushered M into using a fairly conventional torque converter auto, and it's really all this car needs because the shifts are so quick. Left to its own devices, it's almost a sixth sense, but you can also drive it through these carbon paddles if you want to, or through the shifter down here as well. You can easily set the aggression of the shifts. I find the middle one out of the 3 settings is perfect, and there's lots of other, you can play with all of the settings in this car, but the chassis is actually fine in comfort mode. You can stiffen it up in Sport and Sport Plus, particularly for track use, but in comfort there's still immense body control, but still just enough spring travel to give this car supple compliance on the road too, which is kind of the key to understanding how this car can be so expensive, is because it's just able to do it all so well. Really the only way you could improve that package is if it was also available as a station wagon, but the M5 hasn't been available in touring form since the E61 with the V10, and that never came to Australia. What is coming to Australia, of course, is the M3 Touring quite soon. The M5 CS, though, 20 lucky Aussies managed to get their hands on one, and I just hope that they get subjected to some driving like this. Now, we're not spoilt for choice with roads in Australia that are as plentiful as European mountain roads in terms of their scale, I suppose, but you can still seek out some great tarmac in Australia, and that's where this car absolutely belongs. It's comfortable, it's easy to drive quickly, the steering is excellent for an electric power steering rack. It turns in well, despite the fact it's got a big heavy V8 over the front axle. Of course, it's pushed as far to the firewall as possible. The view out's good, and the seats, while they look very aggressive and are very aggressive, they're actually really comfortable. This is hour number 4 for me in the saddle today. Still feeling really fresh, relaxed, no need to get out of the car at this point. Safety stuff is a little pared back, which is a good thing. No adaptive cruise. Personally, I like that, but we still have lane keeping assist, which works really well. Blind spot monitoring, a reversing camera, no 360 degree. Also still a few creature comforts. Harman Kardon stereo sounds good. The infotainment all works well. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's definitely an indulgence, but driving the M5 CS reminds you exactly how M's engineering prowess has gotten so good. And you know, we're just dealing with a superb chassis, an entertaining engine, a comfortable and quick car, definitely future classic status within the BMW M5 heritage. So back where we started, back in beautiful Bavaria, the M5 CS, I mean, it really is just a point in time in the history of BMW M, and we're standing in a point in time where M is very quickly pivoting its attention to full battery electric vehicles. They are committed to doing partially electric. The new XM will be revealed soon, which is a plug-in hybrid, and they still are committed to full internal combustion, at least for the time being, but restrictions are starting to bite heavily on emissions here in Europe. So there simply won't be cars like the M5 CS existing for all that much longer. So certainly a privilege in order to be able to drive it on a trip like this, a true collector's item. So if it feels like this review is kind of more just in reverence to the construction of a car like the CS, that's because it is. This car isn't really competing with anything because you can't go out and buy one new. But if you're an M5 person, if there's a mint E39 M5 sitting in your garage right now and money is no object, you're going to want to go out and find yourself one of these vehicles sometime soon. Keen to know your thoughts, so let me know down below in the comments. While you're there, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. And as always, thanks for watching Chasing Cars.